Hello everyone, welcome back to our channel. Today, we are going to begin a journey that can change the way you think, the way you make decisions, and the way you live your life. This is not just another English lesson, it is also a life lesson. As you listen to this story, you will improve your English vocabulary, your listening skills, and your pronunciation. At the same time, you may discover something important about yourself. So find a quiet place, relax your mind, listen carefully, and imagine every scene as the story unfolds. Now let's begin. There was once a young man named Daniel. From the outside, his life looked normal. Every morning he woke up at the same time, went to work, came home feeling tired, watched videos on his phone, and went to bed. The next day, everything happened again. Day after day. Week after week. Year after year. One evening, after another long day, Daniel stood in front of the mirror. He looked into his own eyes and quietly asked himself, "Am I really happy?" For a few seconds, the room was completely silent. He wanted to answer, but no words came out. He had a job. He had food. He had a place to sleep. But deep inside, something felt empty. It was a strange feeling. He was surviving, but he was not truly living. Many people are just like Daniel. They wake up. They rush through the day. They worry about money. They spend hours looking at their phones. Then they sleep, hoping tomorrow will somehow be different. But tomorrow usually looks exactly like yesterday. Life becomes a circle that never ends. Have you ever felt that way? Have you ever wondered if your life could become something greater? If your answer is yes, then this story is for you. The next morning, Daniel walked through a quiet park before going to work. He noticed an old man sitting alone on a wooden bench. The old man looked peaceful. He was not looking at his phone. He was simply watching the sunrise with a gentle smile. Daniel became curious. He walked over and politely asked, "Sir, may I ask you something?" The old man smiled. "Of course." Daniel took a deep breath. "I feel like my life is standing still. Every day feels the same. I have dreams, but I never seem to get closer to them. Why?" The old man looked at him for a moment before answering. "My son, tell me something. When was the last time you made a decision that truly scared you?" Daniel thought carefully. He could not remember. The old man continued, "Most people are waiting for the perfect moment. They say they will start tomorrow. They say they will begin next month. They say next year will be different." Then he smiled gently. "But tomorrow has stolen more dreams than yesterday ever did." Daniel remained silent. Those words touched his heart. The old man picked up a small stone from the ground. He held it in his hand. "Imagine this stone is your dream." Then he placed it on the path. "If you only stand here and look at it, will it ever come into your hand?" Daniel shook his head. "No." "What must you do?" "I have to walk toward it." The old man nodded. "Exactly. Dreams never come to people who only wait. They belong to people who move." Daniel suddenly understood something important. For years he had been waiting. Waiting for more money. Waiting for more confidence. Waiting for the perfect opportunity. But he had never truly started. The old man smiled again. "Do you know what keeps most people trapped?" Daniel answered softly. Fear. Yes, but not only fear. They are also trapped by excuses. Daniel looked down. He knew exactly what the old man meant. He had said these words many times. I am too busy. I am too tired. I don't have enough experience. I will start next month. The old man laughed kindly. Excuses are comfortable. They protect you from failure. But they also protect you from success. Daniel listened carefully. The old man continued. Imagine there are two doors. Behind the first door is comfort. Nothing changes there. You feel safe. But 10 years later, your life is exactly the same. He paused. Behind the second door is uncertainty. You may fail. You may struggle. But you also have the chance to grow. Which door would you choose? Daniel looked at the ground for a long moment. Then he answered. The second one. The old man smiled proudly. Good. Because every successful person walked through that second door. As the sun rose higher into the sky, the park slowly became busy. People hurried past them. Some looked stressed. Some looked angry. Some never even noticed the beautiful morning around them. The old man pointed toward the crowd. Look carefully. Most of these people are not chasing their dreams. They are only chasing the next weekend. Daniel watched them. For the first time, he realized how true those words were. The old man stood up slowly. Before leaving, he placed a hand on Daniel's shoulder. Never ask yourself if life is easy. Ask yourself if your life has meaning. Easy days disappear. But meaningful days become memories you will carry forever. Daniel stood there quietly. Something had changed inside him. Not because his problems had disappeared, but because his thinking had changed. That evening, instead of spending hours on social media, Daniel opened a notebook. At the top of the first page, he wrote one simple sentence. Today is the day I stop waiting. It was only one sentence. But every great journey begins with one small step. And Daniel had finally taken his. Daniel closed his notebook and looked at the sentence he had just written. Today is the day I stop waiting. For the first time in many years, he felt a small spark of hope. Nothing around him had changed. His room was the same. His job was the same. His bank account was the same. But something inside him was different. He had finally made a decision. The next morning, Daniel woke up 30 minutes earlier than usual. Normally, he would press the snooze button and stay in bed. But today, he got up immediately. He made a simple cup of coffee, opened a book, and began reading. At first, it felt difficult. His mind wanted to check social media. It wanted easy entertainment. It wanted comfort. But Daniel remembered the old man's words. Dreams belong to people who move. So he kept reading. Only 20 minutes passed. But those 20 minutes made him feel stronger than the 2 hours he usually spent scrolling on his phone. That day at work, Daniel noticed something interesting. Most people around him spent their breaks complaining. One complained about the weather. Another complained about money. Someone else blamed the government. Another blamed bad luck. Daniel realized something. Everyone had problems. But not everyone had solutions. The people who complained the most were also the people who changed the least. That evening, Daniel returned to the park. The old man was sitting under the same large tree. Daniel smiled. "I followed your advice." The old man looked at him kindly. "And how do you feel?" "I still have many problems," Daniel admitted. "But I feel lighter." The old man nodded. "Because action removes fear." Then he picked up another small stone from the ground. He placed it in Daniel's hand. "What do you feel?" Daniel looked at it. "It is just a stone." The old man smiled. "Exactly. But imagine you carried this tiny stone every day. For one day it feels light. For 1 week it becomes annoying. For 1 year it becomes painful." Daniel understood immediately. Our worries are like this stone. They become heavier because we refuse to put them down. The old man continued. "Many people carry yesterday's mistakes everywhere they go. They keep thinking about old failures. They remember every embarrassing moment. They believe those moments define them. But the past cannot control you. Only your thoughts can." Daniel stayed silent. He remembered mistakes he had made years ago. He remembered opportunities he had missed. Sometimes those memories still hurt him. The old man looked toward the sky. "Tell me, Daniel, if you drive a car while only looking in the rear-view mirror, what will happen?" Daniel smiled. "I will crash." "Exactly. So why do people spend their lives looking backward?" Daniel had no answer. The old man continued speaking. "Learn from yesterday, but live for today, and build tomorrow." That is how successful people think. A gentle wind moved through the trees. Birds sang quietly above them. The peaceful moment made Daniel feel calm. Then the old man asked another question. "What do you really want from life?" Daniel answered quickly. "I want success." The old man shook his head. "No, that is too general. What does success mean to you?" Daniel stopped speaking. He had never thought deeply about it. After a long silence, he finally answered. "I want my parents to smile because of me. I want to help my family. I want financial freedom. I want to wake up every morning feeling excited." The old man smiled warmly. "Now you are speaking from your heart." He continued. "A person without a clear reason gives up very easily. But a person with a powerful reason keeps moving, even during difficult times." Daniel nodded slowly. He finally understood why so many people quit. Their dreams were weak. Their reasons were unclear. The old man pointed toward a small bird building its nest. "Look carefully." The little bird carried one tiny stick at a time. It flew away. Then it returned. Again. And again. It never complained. It never stopped. Slowly the nest became stronger. The old man smiled. Great things are never built in one day. They are built one small step at a time. Daniel watched the bird with admiration. He realized something important. He had always wanted fast results. If he learned something new, he expected success immediately. If he failed once, he wanted to quit. Now he understood that real growth takes patience. The old man continued. "Most people overestimate what they can do in 1 week, but they underestimate what they can achieve in 5 years. Daniel imagined himself 5 years in the future. He imagined speaking English confidently. He imagined running his own business. He imagined buying a comfortable home for his parents. For the first time, those dreams felt possible. Not because they would happen tomorrow, but because he now understood the path. Small steps. Every single day. The old man stood up and slowly began walking. Daniel followed him. As they walked through the park, they passed 2 gardeners. The first gardener watered his plants every day. The second gardener visited only once every few weeks. Months later, everyone admired the first garden. The second garden was dry and lifeless. The old man stopped walking. Your mind is exactly like a garden. What you feed every day becomes stronger. If you feed fear, fear grows. If you feed confidence, confidence grows. If you feed excuses, excuses become your lifestyle. But if you feed discipline, success slowly becomes your habit. Daniel smiled. Every lesson today felt simple. Yet every lesson carried deep wisdom. The sun was beginning to set. Golden light covered the park. Before leaving, the old man gave Daniel one final challenge. For the next 30 days, do one thing every day that brings you closer to your dream. It does not need to be a huge step. Read 10 pages. Practice English for 30 minutes. Exercise. Save a little money. Learn one new skill. But never let a single day pass without moving forward. Daniel looked into the old man's eyes. I promise. The old man smiled one last time. Remember this. Small actions repeated every day will always defeat big dreams without action. Daniel walked home with confidence. His future had not arrived yet. But for the first time, he believed he was walking toward it. And that belief changed everything. The next morning, Daniel woke up before sunrise. He opened the window and took a deep breath. The air felt fresh. The world was quiet. He realized something important. For many years, he had been waiting for life to become easier. Now he understood that life would always have challenges. The real question was not, will life become easy? The real question was, will I become stronger? That single thought stayed in his mind all day. Later that evening, Daniel returned to the park once again. The old man was already there, sitting under the same tree. Daniel smiled. I have been following your advice every day. The old man looked pleased. And what have you learned? Daniel answered honestly. I have learned that changing my habits is much harder than I expected. The old man nodded. That is because your old habits have lived with you for many years. They do not leave quietly. They fight to stay. Daniel looked confused. What do you mean? The old man smiled. Imagine you have 2 wolves living inside your mind. One wolf is lazy. It loves comfort. It loves excuses. It wants you to sleep longer. It wants you to quit. It tells you that tomorrow is a better day to begin. Then the old man continued. The second wolf is different. It is brave. It is disciplined. It wants you to grow. It reminds you of your dreams. It tells you to keep moving, even when life feels difficult. Daniel listened carefully. "Which wolf becomes stronger?" he asked. The old man smiled. "The one you feed every day." Daniel became silent. He finally understood why some days felt so difficult. His mind was fighting itself. Every decision mattered. Every habit mattered. Every small action mattered. The old man stood up and slowly began walking through the park. Daniel walked beside him. After a few minutes, they reached a small bridge. Below the bridge, a river flowed quietly. The old man pointed toward the water. "Look at this river. It never stops. Sometimes the path is easy. Sometimes large rocks stand in its way. But does the river turn back?" Daniel shook his head. "No. It simply finds another way." The old man smiled. "That is exactly how successful people think. When life blocks one path, they do not stop. They find another. They keep moving." Daniel looked at the flowing water. He realized that many times he had given up after facing only one problem. Maybe success was not about avoiding obstacles. Maybe it was about learning to move through them. The old man suddenly asked, "Tell me, Daniel, what are you willing to sacrifice for your dream?" Daniel thought for a moment. "I am willing to work harder." The old man smiled. "That is a good start. But success asks for more. It asks for discipline. It asks for patience. It asks for lonely mornings. It asks for difficult choices. It asks you to become a different person." Daniel remained quiet. The old man continued. "Many people want success, but they also want comfort. They want great results without hard work. They want confidence without practice. They want wealth without learning. Life does not work that way. You cannot plant nothing today and expect a beautiful garden tomorrow." Daniel understood every word. For years he had wished for a better life. Now he realized that wishing was never enough. Action was everything. As they continued walking, they passed a group of young people laughing together. One of them noticed Daniel carrying a book. He laughed and said, "You study too much. Enjoy your life." For a moment, Daniel felt embarrassed. He looked at the old man. The old man simply smiled. "Never let people who have no destination decide your direction." Daniel laughed softly. Those words removed all his doubt. The old man continued. "People often criticize what they do not understand. When you begin changing your life, not everyone will support you. Some people will laugh. Some people will doubt you. Some people will even try to stop you. But remember this. They are not living your life. You are." Daniel felt stronger than ever before. A few days later, something unexpected happened. Daniel failed an important interview. He had prepared for weeks. He truly believed he would succeed. But he did not get the job. As he walked home, disappointment filled his heart. For a moment, the old voice returned. "You are not good enough. You should quit. This dream is too difficult." Daniel almost believed those words. Instead of giving up, he went directly to the park. The old man listened quietly. When Daniel finished speaking, The old man smiled gently. Do you know how children learn to walk? Daniel answered. They keep trying. And how many times do they fall? Many times. The old man nodded. Exactly. No child says, walking is too difficult. They fall. They stand up. They fall again. And one day, they walk. The old man looked directly into Daniel's eyes. So why do adults give up after one failure? Daniel smiled, because he finally knew the answer. Fear. The old man continued. Failure is not your enemy. Giving up is. Every mistake teaches you something. Every failure makes you stronger. But only if you continue. Weeks slowly turned into months. Daniel stayed consistent. He practiced English every day. He read books. He exercised. He learned new skills. He spent less time on his phone. He spent more time building his future. Little by little, his confidence grew. His communication improved. His thinking became clearer. One evening, Daniel received another interview invitation. This time he felt calm. He was not afraid, because he knew something important. Even if he failed again, he would keep going. The interview went well. A few days later, the company called him. He got the job. Daniel smiled with happiness. Not because of the new job, but because he knew the real victory had happened long before. The real victory was becoming a person who never gave up. That evening, Daniel returned to the park one final time. The old man was sitting quietly beneath the same tree. Daniel thanked him. You changed my life. The old man smiled warmly. No, I only showed you the path. You were the one who walked it. Daniel looked around the peaceful park. Everything looked the same. The trees, the birds, the river, the sunset. Nothing had changed. Except one thing. Himself. He finally understood that success does not begin with money. It does not begin with talent. It does not begin with luck. It begins with one decision. The decision to believe in yourself. The decision to take action. The decision to keep moving, even when the journey feels difficult. Before leaving, the old man shared one final lesson. Never compare your chapter 1 with someone else's chapter 20. Everyone has a different journey. Walk at your own pace. Keep learning. Keep growing. And never stop believing in the person you are becoming. Daniel smiled. He thanked the old man one last time and slowly walked toward his new future. He knew there would still be challenges. There would still be failures. There would still be difficult days. But now he also knew something even more powerful. As long as he refused to quit, there was nothing that could truly stop him. Because every great life begins with one simple choice. The choice to start today. Not tomorrow. Not next week. Today. And perhaps today can become the day that changes your life forever.